It's my first time. The millionaire couldn't believe it, and what he did changed everything. A foggy morning hung heavy over New York. No rain, but the sky seemed burdened with unshed tears. A sleek black helicopter sliced through the Manhattan skyline, gliding silently like a shadow. Behind its tinted windows, Nathan Carter, 36, adjusted the cuff of his crisp white shirt, his eyes locked on the city stretching beyond. Beneath him stood towers that bore the mark of Carter Developments, his empire built not from privilege, but from precision and control. Every pane of reflective glass was a monument to strategy. No family fortune, no luck, just ruthless ambition. "Mr. Carter, we're approaching the tower," the pilot's voice came through his headset. Nathan nodded slightly, no words. He glanced downward. The city a maze of concrete and steel, where people chased dreams and status. But unlike them, he was already at the top. And from up here sometimes, it felt too quiet. The helicopter landed smoothly atop the tallest skyscraper in his portfolio. Nathan stepped out with deliberate confidence. A muted sun pushed through the clouds, catching the threads of his charcoal Italian suit and making him look like a figure straight out of a financial magazine. Rachel, his executive assistant, waited by the helipad with a fresh coffee and a folder in hand. "Anything changed in today's schedule?" he asked, eyes scanning the documents he didn't need to read. "Tokyo investors rescheduled. It's now at 3 p.m., she replied. "And your mother called. She said it's important." Nathan paused for just a second. Without turning, he answered coolly, "Tell her I'm busy." Rachel lowered her gaze but gently added, "She said you'd say that, but today's your father's memorial." Nathan's steps slowed. He closed his eyes briefly, then reopened them, sharp as ever. Without a word, he continued toward the elevator. He was used to hiding everything behind glass walls. Emotions were distractions. The past, just another thing to leave behind on the way up. That evening, the 50th floor of the Hudson Grand Tower sparkled with chandeliers and smooth live jazz. Sophie, the elegant wife of Eli, Nathan's only real friend, was celebrating her 34th birthday. The guest list included business elites, politicians, and a few glittering names from New York's art scene. Nathan Carter didn't care for parties, but he came for Eli's sake. As usual, he arrived late, wearing a deep navy blazer, crisp white shirt, no tie, his version of casual power. From the moment he entered, a few heads turned. Nathan Carter was that kind of presence. Admired, respected, but never quite approached. He exchanged polite nods, brief handshakes, hollow conversations about markets and numbers. He was like a cold breeze passing through the room, commanding but distant. "You made it," Eli walked up, holding 2 champagne flutes. Sophie was beginning to think you forgot her birthday. Nathan gave a slight smile, accepting the glass. "I couldn't forget the only woman who ever managed to train you. She's with her art crowd. You know, murals, reclaimed wood, that kind of thing." Eli tilted his head toward a corner of the room. Nathan looked, but his gaze quickly drifted elsewhere. A young woman was passing by with a tray of hors d'oeuvres. Simple black skirt, tucked-in white shirt, hair in a low bun. Nothing flashy, but impossible to ignore. She smiled softly at guests, calm and graceful, completely out of sync with the noisy glamour around her. "Who is she?" Nathan asked, voice low. "Lena Torres," Eli replied. "Event staff. Architecture student at NYU. Why?" Nathan didn't answer. His eyes followed her movements like a magnet. There was something pure in the way she moved. Gentle, grounded, a kind of sincerity he rarely found in polished circles. When Lena disappeared into the kitchen, Nathan said casually, "I could use some water." Eli laughed. "That's your opening line? I'm thirsty?" Nathan was already walking in the direction she had gone. In the back kitchen, Lena was carefully rearranging a tray. She looked up, startled, as Nathan entered. "Can I help you?" she asked, polite, but distant. "Not really," Nathan said. "Just admiring your professionalism." A faint blush touched her cheeks. "Thanks. I should get back out there." "You study architecture?" "Yes, NYU, senior year." "And this job's, to pay for school?" "Among other reasons." No embellishments, no small talk, just honesty. Nathan felt something shift inside him. quietly but undeniably. Before she left, he asked, "Your full name?" "Lena Torres." She gave a small nod, then walked past him and back into the noise of the party. But in that moment, Nathan felt as if the entire room had gone silent. Something had started, and he knew he wasn't about to let it slip away. The next day, Nathan couldn't focus on anything. Numbers, contracts, emails, they all blurred together like white noise. His mind kept returning to the image of a girl in a modest uniform, with a soft smile and expressive eyes. Lena Torres. He opened his contacts and called Sophie. "The waitress from last night. Do you have any info on her?" There was a pause, then Sophie laughed. "I knew it. Eli owes me $50. "What?" "We bet whether you'd ask about her. I won." Nathan sighed. "Sophie." All right. Her name's Lena. She's an architecture student at NYU, and she works part-time at a coffee shop called Chapter and Bean near campus." "Thanks." He hung up immediately. That afternoon, Nathan parked his sleek BMW outside a small cafe nestled in Greenwich Village. It was warm, wooden, lined with used books. The sign, Chapter and Bean, was handwritten in chalk on a blackboard. Inside smelled like fresh coffee and warm waffles. He felt out of place in his tailored suit among students in hoodies and sneakers. And then, he saw her. Lena was behind the counter wearing a green apron, her hair pulled up. When she smiled at a customer, something inside him stirred. He joined the line like any other guest. When only 2 people remained, Lena noticed him. Surprise flickered across her face. "Hi," he said when it was his turn. "One espresso, please." Lena pressed her lips together. "You're from last night, right? Hudson Grand?" "That's right, Nathan Carter." He extended a hand. She shook it politely, then quickly withdrew. "Lena Torres," she replied. "We've met. And I've wanted to meet again." She didn't answer, just turned to make the coffee. He didn't take his eyes off her. "Your espresso, $5, she said, placing the cup in front of him. Nathan handed her a 50. Lena frowned. "I don't take tips like that." "Call it a thank you for last night." "Still too much." She pushed the 50 back and only accepted a 10. Nathan smiled. "Are you always this principled?" "Only with guys who wear $3,000 suits to order espresso." He laughed, in the first real laugh of his day. "When do you usually work here?" "This isn't a date app," she replied, but her tone had softened. Nathan lifted his cup and took a step back. Before leaving, he turned. "Hope I get thirsty again tomorrow." Lena didn't reply, but as he walked out, her cheeks were a soft shade of pink. 2 days later, Nathan returned to the cafe, this time with rolled-up sleeves, jeans, and a softer smile. Lena was wiping down the counter when she noticed him, surprised to see him holding 2 cups of coffee. "I'm not here to order today. Already brought my own," he said, handing her one. "You know my order now?" she asked, half joking, half curious. "Light latte, touch of vanilla." "I've got a good memory." Lena smiled, a real smile. "So, why are you here?" "I want to show you something," Nathan replied. "A project of mine. Architecture. You might find it interesting." His SUV took them to the east side of Manhattan, where a newly completed luxury condo complex gleamed in the afternoon sun. Glass facades reflected the sky, marble hallways shimmered, and the scent of diffusers filled the air. Lena felt like she had stepped into another world. "This is the Aurora. Close to $3 million for a 2-bedroom. I want your thoughts, from an architectural point of view." Lena looked around. Everything was pristine, perfectly arranged. "It's beautiful," she admitted, "but also a little cold." Nathan turned to her. "Cold?" "Yeah, not the air conditioning. The feeling, like it's not meant for regular people. It's beautiful, but distant." He fell silent. No one usually said things like that to him, yet it struck a chord. After a pause, he said, "I want to show you something else." The car headed toward Brooklyn. Lena didn't ask questions, just stared out the window. When they stopped, she looked around, puzzled. In front of them stood a small 4-story building, worn but solid. The paint was chipped, the railings a bit rusty. "My first project," Nathan said as he stepped out. 10 years ago, affordable housing, 40 units. Not fancy, not glamorous, but real. Lena followed him through a small courtyard where kids played and flowers bloomed along the fences. There were sounds of laughter, of life. You built this before all the glass towers? I did. Back then, I had one goal: to build homes for people who didn't have any. My dad was a carpenter. He believed a house isn't just shelter. It's where hope begins. Lena didn't say anything. The breeze carried sense of cooking and the hum of a living community. And then you changed? She asked. Money changes a lot. Investors, profits, expectations. I drifted away from why I started. Do you regret it? Nathan turned, eyes sincere. Lately, yes. They sat on a worn wooden bench in the middle of the courtyard. Lena took off her glasses, looking up at the blue sky. I study architecture because I believe in housing. Like your dad, a small space can change a life. But I don't want to design places where only the rich can live. Nathan looked at her for a long moment. Maybe I need to remember why I started. Then remember, she whispered. There was a quiet pause. Nothing more between them than a small nod. But it was enough to begin something deeper. Something not measured in dollars but in shared values. Nathan took her to a small, family-owned diner in a quiet neighborhood. The food was simple but rich in flavor, slowly putting Lena at ease. They talked about family, dreams, and childhood. She spoke about her mother, Clara, a hard-working woman who had raised 2 daughters on her own. My mom is my superhero, she smiled. Dad left when I was 12, but she never gave up. My father died when I was 25, Nathan said quietly. I often wonder if he'd be proud of me if he were still alive. I believe he would be, Lena gently squeezed his hand. But if you're doubting, maybe it's time you return to whatever makes your heart feel alive. Her gaze was sincere, without judgment. Nathan felt something stir in his chest, a strange, long-lost feeling he thought he'd buried. I want to see you again, he said, holding her hand. We're very different, she hesitated. Differences can complete each other. Lena looked deep into his eyes. She saw not just a successful businessman, but a man searching for himself. All right, but let's take it slow. Nathan gave her a radiant smile. Slow it is. In the following weeks, Nathan and Lena began seeing each other frequently. He stopped by the cafe nearly every day, always ordering different drinks, always finding an excuse to talk. As for Lena, though she tried to convince herself it was just curiosity, her heart beat faster every time she saw him walk through the door with that familiar, gentle smile. Nathan took her to visit various architectural sites, not luxury buildings, but artistic and community-focused projects. They went together to museums, exhibitions, and architectural parks. Lena discovered that Nathan had a deep eye for aesthetics and a genuine love for architecture. And for Nathan, for the first time in many years, he felt open, light, and excited. Lena's simplicity, sincerity, and passion made him feel alive again. One Thursday afternoon, Nathan invited Lena to visit his penthouse apartment. At first, she hesitated but eventually agreed, curious to see how he really lived. The apartment sat on the top floor, offering a panoramic view of the city, its interior luxurious and flawless, like something out of a magazine. But Lena noticed immediately, it didn't feel like a home. It's beautiful, she said as she stepped onto the balcony, but it feels more like a hotel than a place to live. Why do you say that? Nathan approached and handed her a glass of wine. It's cold. It lacks warmth. It lacks you in the details. He chuckled, but his voice dropped. Maybe it's because I've forgotten who I am. Lena looked at him closely. Nathan, when was the last time you truly felt happy? He went quiet for a long time, staring down at the glowing city below. I don't remember. That's sad. That's life, he shrugged. Success comes with a price. But it doesn't have to. Nathan turned to her. You wouldn't understand. My world is full of competition, full of people trying to use me. Trust is a luxury. Do you trust me? He was silent, then gave a small nod. I'm starting to. Lena set her glass down and stepped closer. Then let me help you remember who you are. How? Tell me about your real dreams, not the business plans. Nathan took a deep breath. I once wanted to make a difference, to build homes for people who really needed them, to make my work meaningful, not just profitable. Then it's not too late. It's not that simple, Lena. I have responsibilities, employees, investors. I can't just change everything over one crisis. No one's asking you to give it all up, but you can find balance. Suddenly, Nathan snapped. What do you know? You work at a coffee shop, live in Santana, take 2 hours to get here. The words left his mouth before he could stop them. Lena's face went pale. You're right. I don't belong in your world. And maybe that's for the best, she said, heading for the door. Nathan quickly grabbed her hand. Lena, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Yes, you did. But it's okay, she said, still standing there, not pulling her hand away. You already said it. We're too different. I don't want that to be true. I want you to be part of my world. I want to take care of you, so you don't have to worry about money, about work. Just live your dream. Lena shook her head. I don't want to be taken care of. I want to be respected. I do respect you. Then respect my independence too. Nathan let go of her hand, exhausted. I don't know how. I'm used to solving everything with money. Not every problem can be solved with money. Then, teach me, he said softly. There was something fragile in his voice that made Lena pause. Do you really want to learn? Yes, from you. Then let's start with the simplest thing, she smiled. Tomorrow night, come over for dinner. My mom really wants to meet you. Nathan blinked. Your mom knows about me? She knows there's a man I care about. She doesn't know about the money or the company. To her, you're just Nathan. What if she doesn't like me? Then you'll have to win her over, like a normal person. Nathan laughed. It's been a long time since I had to win anyone over. Well then, it's time you start again. Saturday evening, right on time, Nathan stood outside an old apartment building in Jackson Heights, Queens. He wore jeans, a crisp white shirt, and held a small bouquet of flowers and a bottle of red wine. He rarely felt nervous, but now, standing in front of apartment 3B, his palms were slightly damp. Lena opened the door, a soft smile lighting her face. You came. I thought you might bail, she teased. I considered it, he replied, but figured you'd call the cops. They both laughed. Nathan handed her the flowers. For your mom. Lena looked surprised, then accepted them. She'll love these. The apartment was small but tidy and warm. Family photos lined the walls. Potted plants adorned the narrow balcony. The air smelled like something delicious was simmering on the stove. Hi, Clara, Nathan greeted as Lena's mother walked out from the kitchen. She was petite, with silver-streaked hair tied back and sharp, kind eyes. Hello, Nathan, she smiled, shaking his hand. Just call me Clara. No formalities in this home, all right? Nathan chuckled, feeling the tension lift a little. In the kitchen, Lena helped her mother set the table. Nathan sat at an old wooden table polished to a shine. Clara brought out a steaming pot of stew and poured wine for everyone. Your family nearby? Clara asked after the initial small talk. My mother lives upstate. She doesn't like the city much. And your father? He passed away 10 years ago. Clara nodded slowly. Then you know how important a peaceful home can be. Nathan fell silent. Her words struck deeper than he expected. Over dinner, Clara shared stories about Lena, how she used to draw houses and build cardboard models as a little girl. Lena blushed, but smiled. She always wanted to build places for people who needed them, Clara said. She once told me a home wasn't just a roof. It was where dreams were born. Hey, you raised an incredible daughter, Nathan said softly. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. After dinner, Clara refused to let Nathan wash the dishes. Bad luck on a first visit, she joked. Lena led Nathan out to the tiny balcony, where she kept pots of mint, rosemary, and lavender. This is where I hide when I'm overwhelmed, Lena said, settling into a plastic chair. And I hide in my penthouse? No, Nathan smiled. I hide behind spreadsheets. Lena laughed. That's even sadder. But today's different, he said, looking at her. Today I'm not hiding. The night breeze was soft. Nathan reached out, his fingers brushing hers. Lena didn't pull away. Are you surprised, he asked. About what? That I'm here. No luxury car, no service staff, no marble floors. No, she said quietly. I think you needed this. Nathan looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. I think you're right. On a Thursday afternoon after her last class, Lena received a message from Nathan. If you're free tonight, I'd like to cook for you. She read it 3 times. Not dinner out, not a fancy reservation. He wanted to cook for her. Nathan's penthouse was another world. Wide, minimalist, impeccably designed. But as she stepped inside, Lena noticed the space was beautiful, but not warm. Feels more like a hotel than a home, she commented, standing at the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the city. You're the second person to say that, Nathan smiled, handing her a glass of wine. First was my mom, though she said it with some disappointment. They ate dinner at the small table by the kitchen. Nathan had made risotto, a bit salty, but Lena ate every bite. What matters is you made it yourself. After dinner, they settled on the long sofa, soft yellow light glowing in the background. Lena spoke about her dreams post-graduation. Nathan listened, never taking his eyes off her. I want to design places that people truly feel they belong in, she said. A home shouldn't be for show, it should be for love. You sound like my father, Nathan whispered. He believed the same, but I forgot. I traded feeling for success. And now? Lena turned to him. Now I'm remembering, he said quietly. Silence wrapped around them. Not awkward, but peaceful. A few seconds passed before Nathan gently set his glass down and leaned closer. Lena, he whispered, I don't know exactly what this is between us, but I can't pretend I don't feel it anymore. She didn't answer. She just looked into his eyes and saw something real, unguarded, unpolished. When their lips met, the world paused. The kiss wasn't rushed. It was truth, a wordless promise. Nathan led her into the bedroom, a room bathed in city lights pouring through the large glass window. He stopped in front of her, gently brushing his hand along her face. I've never felt this way about anyone, he whispered. You're different from all the rest. You're a good man, Nathan, she smiled softly. You just forgot that. They touched each other like two people discovering intimacy for the first time. No rush, no pretense. Just the raw, honest longing to belong to one another completely. Nathan explored her body as if he were cherishing the most precious thing in the world. And Lena, for the first time in her life, gave herself fully, with complete trust. Until Nathan suddenly noticed a streak of blood on the bedsheet. He froze, eyes wide. Lena, are you? Her face flushed deep red. She nodded gently. It was my first time. Nathan was speechless. He had never imagined he'd be someone's first. Why didn't you tell me? He asked hoarsely. Because it didn't matter, she whispered. All I knew was I wanted it to be you. Nathan's heart shattered in the most beautiful way. She had given him something sacred, something priceless. In that moment, he was no longer the successful businessman, but the luckiest man in the world. He pulled her into his arms, kissed her forehead with reverence. You're incredible. Thank you. Did I please you? She asked shyly. Nathan looked straight into her eyes. You were perfect. This is the first time anything has ever felt truly meaningful. They lay together through the night, whispering secrets, fears, and dreams. Nathan spoke of loneliness, of the walls he'd built around his heart. Lena shared her fears of not being good enough for his world. You're not just good enough, Nathan said, tucking her hair behind her ear. You're everything I never knew I was missing. As she fell asleep in his arms, he stayed awake, watching her, as if trying to memorize every feature. And the bloodstain on the sheet, what others might find shameful, now stood as a miracle, a silent testimony. Lena had chosen him. In this life, among millions, she had chosen him. For the first time ever, Nathan felt fear, not of losing deals or failing in business, but of not being worthy of the love she had given him. And in that very moment, he swore he would do everything to be worthy of it. And they stayed together through the night, not to fill a void, but to complete something missing inside them both. Since that night, Nathan was a different man. He was still CEO of Carter Developments, still arrived on time, still wore his tailored suits. But inside, he was changed. No longer chasing meaningless meetings or projects built only to hit margins. Now every blueprint came with one question. What's the real value of this? Rachel, his assistant, noticed first. You're different, she said, handing him the morning schedule. Different good or different bad? Different human, she smiled. You're finally living instead of just functioning. Nathan said nothing. He knew he was changing, and he knew why. On the 45th floor boardroom, Japanese investors, American partners, and in-house execs discussed a $200 million luxury project in Midtown. Projected return is 14% annually, especially if we commercialize the ground floor, a financial director said. Nathan flipped a few pages, then looked up suddenly. What if we use that land for affordable housing? Silence. A Japanese investor leaned forward, polite but firm. Are you serious, Mr. Carter? Entirely. A senior exec frowned. Nathan, we can't sacrifice returns for personal ideals. Ideals, Nathan said calmly, are sometimes the foundation of long-term value. We're building a city, not a casino. No one responded, but he knew not everyone would stay with him. That afternoon, Nathan walked into NYU's architecture library. Behind the glass walls, he saw Lena, bent over her designs, sunlight spilling across her shoulder like a quiet scene in a film. He tapped gently. Lena looked up, squinting, then smiled. Did you get lost? I came to find you. I have a proposal. She tilted her head. What kind of proposal? To start again, together. They sat on a stone bench outside the library. Nathan told her everything. The meeting, the investors' reactions, his desire to return to what his father once believed. Housing is for everyone, and I don't want to do it alone, he finished. I want to do it with you. Lena said nothing at first. A soft breeze passed between them. Then she whispered, You know, I've always dreamed of hearing someone with real power say those words. And now you've heard them. Do you want to help make them real? She turned to look at him. A man who once lived in control, now trembling slightly from placing trust in something uncertain. She nodded. Where do we start? Nathan held her hand, firm and steady, with a dream and a blueprint. A golden autumn afternoon bathed NYU's campus in warm light. Leaves swayed gently in the breeze, sunlight filtering through branches like delicate lace spun by nature. Lena sat beneath the large oak tree near the library, pencil in hand, sketching a housing model for working-class families. An idea she and Nathan had been developing. Her face was touched by sunlight, her eyes lit up each time a new line took shape. A familiar voice came from behind her. I thought you only looked beautiful in warm lighting. Turns out, sunlight suits you too. Lena turned. Nathan stood there holding an old rolled-up sketch tied with a blue ribbon. No suit, just a gray shirt, simple khaki pants. But the smile, that smile still made her heart skip. What are you doing here? She asked, surprised. I came to ask you something, but first give me a minute. Nathan sat beside her and unrolled the paper. It was the very first design they created together. A small 2-story house with a balcony, a porch, and a little garden out front. Lena remembered it clearly. They once argued over where the kitchen window should face. I've kept this since that night, Nathan said. I thought, if I ever wanted to start over, this would be the place to begin. He turned to her, looking straight into her eyes. Lena Torres, you didn't just help me remember why I started. You gave me a reason to continue, a reason to not just build houses, but to build a future. From his pocket, he pulled out a small black box. He opened it. Inside was a simple ring. No giant diamond, just a thin silver band with a hand-cut stone. Will you marry me? Lena raised her hand to her mouth. Her eyes welled with tears, then one slipped down her cheek. Are you sure? She whispered. About me. About all of this. I've never been more sure of anything. Lena nodded, falling into his arms beneath the golden trees. No fancy restaurants, no fireworks, just two people, a ring, and a shared dream beginning to take form. Nathan lifted her into his arms and spun her around in the schoolyard. They laughed, they cried. And beneath the falling leaves, they didn't just get engaged. They made a promise to change the world, starting with the very first bricks. Over the next few months, between late-night planning sessions and shared cups of coffee, they designed not just buildings but their future together. Friends and family watched their love deepen, and when spring finally arrived, their wedding took place in a small garden by the Hudson River. No fireworks, no grand orchestra, just a few rows of white chairs, lavender arches, and golden sunlight. Lena wore a simple gown, her hair tied low with a sprig of lavender like the one she grew on her balcony. Nathan, in a navy suit, couldn't hide his smile as she walked toward him. When the minister spoke, Nathan held her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze, as if to remind them both that they had traveled different roads to arrive at the same place, each other's home. The intimate reception was held at the newly opened affordable housing complex, the first project they had built together. Families with brand new keys mingled with guests, children darting between tables. Nathan stood among them, watching Lena chat with the residents, feeling a fullness he'd never known. Clara hugged him and whispered, "Welcome to a real family." "I'm the lucky one," Nathan smiled. "I found Lena." In the distance stood a silver-haired woman, Nathan's mother. They hadn't spoken much in years, but today she came. Nathan approached, hesitating for a moment. "Thank you for coming." She looked at him, her eyes softening. "I was wrong to let you think success was everything. Today, I see you're happy, and I'm glad to be here." He hugged her. Awkward at first, then tighter, as if repairing a bond that had been broken too long. That night, as they returned to their new apartment, smaller, cozier, every corner lovingly decorated by Lena, they sat on the balcony, gazing out at the glowing city below. "Nathan," Lena whispered, placing his hand on her belly. "What is it?" "I have good news for you. We're going to have a baby." Nathan froze for a few seconds, then broke into the brightest smile of his life. "Are you serious? I found out this morning, but I wanted to tell you in a special place, in the place where our dream began." He lifted her up and spun her gently in his arms. "I love you, Lena. I love you so much. I love you too. And I love the life we're building together." Nathan knelt down and kissed her belly. "Hello, little angel. Daddy already loves you so much." Lena laughed, running her fingers through his hair. "Our child is going to be so lucky." "No, I'm the lucky one," Nathan said as he stood and pulled her into his arms. "You and our baby. You're everything I need to feel that this life is complete." They stood there holding each other tightly, surrounded by the shimmering lights of the city they were helping to change, not through power or fame, but through love and kindness. A year later, in their Brooklyn apartment, Lena sat by the window holding a tiny baby boy, his skin warm and pink, his eyes a mirror of Nathan's. "What should we name him?" she asked, her voice soft, careful not to wake him. Nathan sat beside her, placing a hand on his son's back. "Eli," he said, "because if it weren't for Eli, I never would have met you." Lena smiled, kissing the baby's forehead. Outside, the sound of children playing from the nearby housing complex blended with the chirping of birds and the rustle of wind. Nathan looked from the window back to them. He knew this was home. Not a glass tower, not million-dollar contracts, but a place with laughter, with love, and a reason to wake up every morning.